Look, I get it. You watched a high-level affiliate video. They showed you some shiny objects, something to do with high-level AI, and you signed up with their affiliate link. Now you're in their community and there's no real training at all. Just more marketing, blah, 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 and there's no structure to how to set up or use high-level in your business. I've been there. I fell for it in the beginning too. I signed up with my first affiliate. They gave me my 30-day challenge to get my first client. And I remember thinking, how am I going to get a client when I don't even know how to create contact? It's all marketing, no training. Nevertheless, I'm building a high-level training community, and it's not a sign up with my affiliate link and get free crap. I've been training people on how to use software for more than 30 years. I've been running a high-level agency for 5, and I'm ready to get back to training. Basically because there's not any out there. You know, step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. There's a link below if you want to get signed up. There's also a link to a PDF for this specific lesson. If you get any value out of this lesson, like what you see, if you get a chance, can you please hit the subscribe button? It'll help me out tremendously. So you're here to learn how to warm up your email, so let's get started with the lesson. So in the last lesson, we went over setting up your email server. We barely touched on warming up your email, and it definitely wasn't enough for you to understand how the email warm-up process works. So this lesson is fully dedicated to warming up your email. So what is an email warm-up? It's the process of increasing the volume of emails you send from a new domain. So why do we need to warm up your email? Your new email server has no reputation. We've got to build a reputation with the major carriers like Google, Yahoo, iCloud, and Microsoft. The objective for this is to build trust with those systems. Now, how do we start the warm-up process? We send emails to known friendly email addresses in a drip style, and you know these contacts will open the emails and reply. What do you not want to do? You don't want to start blasting bulk emails out to lists that you've published or people you don't know or have permission to contact. When we go through this process, there's certain considerations we need to take a look at. First, it's important that your signature has your name, address, and phone number. These carriers are going to be looking for things like that. We also need to make sure that your domain email server header is set up correctly with a name and an email return. Now, it is possible to send bulk emails to friendly email addresses, but you don't want to send more than 10, and you definitely want to do a drip style. high-level calls this a batch, and we never want to send them all at once. Also, we want to send them from the Contacts tab. We don't want to send them from the Marketing, Email, and Campaigns tab. We're not running a campaign. We're simply trying to warm up the email server. So we're going to warm this email up manually. We're not going to put it in automations, and we're not going to put it into some kind of email campaign. So you're going to need to come up with a schedule. And you're going to run this schedule for about 3 weeks, maybe 4. The objective is to start out sending a few emails and then gradually increase that every day. So you're going to send 10 or 15 every day for about a week. Then you're going to bump that up to 20 or 40. And if you have more safe contacts, then you can go ahead and bump that up to 50, 60, or 100. So this is going to be a twofold for each contact. You're going to send them an initial email. It's a friendly email that says, hey, this is my new email address. Would you please reply? And you're going to send them one more. It's going to have a link in it, and hopefully they'll click the link. Now what this does is it tells the carriers that one, they got an email, they moved it into their inbox, and they replied. And on the second email, there was a link that the recipient clicked, and it wasn't a spam click. Engagement with your email is very important. It gives the carriers the green light that says you're not a spammer. So we're about to get into this, and there are 3 things that we're going to check first. We're going to check the sending domain header, we're going to check the user signature, and we're going to check on the DNS records to make sure that everything's right. So I'm sure you're ready to get into it, so let's get started. Okay, we're here in Monica's account. First thing we're going to do is go to her profile. We're going to go down and check her signature, and she has an image in her signature. We're going to take that out. For these warm-up emails, we don't want any images in the text, and I'm going to add her email address underneath the phone number. Then I'm going to go over and check the email server. I'm going to go to dedicated domain and IP, and we do have a value in the name and the email, so set there. Now our email server is noreply.moonleafspa.com. We need to go over and check the DNS records for something important. So I'm going to go over to Cloudflare, open her account, go to domains, go to overview, pull up moonleafspa.com, go to the DNS records, and I am checking for a specific record. These no replies here represent the email server. I'm looking for this SPS field here. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to zoom this up a little bit, and I can see there's a problem here. This SPF field here for Google is wrong. It's missing the SPF underscore. I'm going to paste in what it needs to be. What I added was this underscore spf.google.com. This is the correct way it should be in there. So now we shouldn't have any trouble with Google. I'm going to save that, and now we're going to go back to high level. Now, if you're confused about the few things we just did, you need to go back and watch the email server setup lesson. All we did was check ourselves against what we did in that lesson. I just remembered I forgot something. If I go back to my profile, I want to turn on this button here. I want to enable signature on all outgoing messages. I'm going to update again, and now we're going to go to the go back button, and we're going to go to contacts. Here you're going to see a list of demo contacts. I added these manually by selecting add contact and then filling in the information here and saving. We're going to use these contacts and a few more to warm up the email server. Now, one thing I want you to notice here is that there are no tags associated with these contacts. Tags are probably one of the most important features in the high-level system. If you don't learn to properly tag your incoming contacts, you're going to wind up with a giant mess of contacts that you won't be able to sort or manage in any way. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The reason high level is so powerful is that it has so many ways for a contact to come into your CRM. The website alone has a minimum of 3 ways. They can come in through a chatbot, they can come in through a contact form, they can come in through a calendar booking. You've got your socials and all the ways that they come in through DMs and comments. You've got your funnels with your order forms where your contacts come in as clients. You've got newsletter forms. You're running Facebook ad campaigns, so your Facebook ad forms are coming in. You're building AI agents, whether they're answering the phone and bringing contacts in, or they're associated with some other part of your business and they're bringing more contacts in. The first and most important tag is going to be, how did the contact come into your CRM? After you define how they came in, then you need to find out who they are. That's the second tag. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a couple of tags to all these contacts. I'm going to select them all here, and I'm going to go right over here to add tags. Now, because I'm doing this in bulk, I've got to give it an action name, and then it's asking me to select a tag. Now, Monica hasn't created any tags yet, so I'm going to create the first tag, and I'm going to call this manual add contact. And because the contact doesn't exist, I've got to select the add. Now, there's one more tag I want to add to these. All of these contacts that have been entered are Monica's personal contacts, so I'm going to add that tag also. So I'm going to enter personal contacts here, and that tag doesn't exist either, so I'm going to have to add it. And now all of these contacts are going to have 2 tags. They're basically going to have the how did they come into the system and who they are. I'm going to add tags, and because I did this in bulk, it's going to go through the process. I can simply check the process here, and it says that adding tags is complete. So if I go up here and I select Smart Lists, you'll see here that the tags have been added to each one of the contacts. It says personal contact plus 1. You can see when I highlight over it, it says manual add contact. That's the other tag. So now all of these contacts have been tagged. Well, now that we've tagged these contacts, we can create a smart list. We go over here and hit the plus add smart list. And I'm going to call this smart list personal contacts. And I'm going to go to advanced filters, and I'm going to go down and find tag. And when I select tag, in this list, I want everyone who has the tag personal contact. That's done. We go down and hit apply, and then we have to create the list. We've defined it as personal contacts. We're going to create the list. Now you'll see we have a smart list called personal contacts, and anytime someone's tagged with personal contact, it's going to go into this list. So if we go back to all here, at some point you'll have all of your contacts in this all selection. It will look jumbled and it won't have any format. Your format comes from your smart lists. When you tag every contact with a particular tag, you can create smart lists for those tags, and then you can see a smart list with all the contacts that are referenced to that tag. You just have to select the list, and it pops everyone up that has the personal tag. Okay, you may have current clients that you want to use in this email warm-up effort, and I'm sure you don't want to enter all of them manually. Well, you can use this import feature and import those clients into the system. Those clients need to be in some kind of spreadsheet form. It doesn't matter if it's Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, or any other platform that uses rows and columns. The only requirement is that you're going to have to be able to download this list in a CSV format. That's how we import these into HighLevel. When you create your spreadsheet, you have to have headers also. Now these headers correspond with what HighLevel calls custom fields. If we go to the custom fields, and this is under the settings menu, under custom fields, you'll see that the system comes with a standard set of custom fields. What we're definitely going to need for this effort is first name, last name, and email. And if you have the phone number, that's great also. We're not going to be using those yet. But if you have any of these other values we can use in the custom fields, you can add them to your spreadsheet. For example, there's a company name here. It's going to correspond with business.name. If we want to, we can go back to our spreadsheet and we can add a company column because we know there's a custom field for company. I'm going to add some demo companies in here. So now I've added some demo companies to this list. So we're going to export this list in a CSV file. And then we're going to go back to HighLevel and we're going to import this file. We're going to select the import button. We're going to be importing contacts. We're going to go down and select next. Now it's asking us for the file to upload. You can drag and drop it in here or you can go look for it on your computer. Here's the file we just downloaded. Now it's asking us create and update contacts, or we can just create contacts, or we can just update contacts. We want to create and update contacts. We want to find our existing contacts based on the contact ID, email, then phone. So basically what it's saying is that if it finds a contact with the same information, it's going to override it. I'm going to select next. Now you can see what it's going to do with the information that's coming across. This is the data that's in each column. It's telling us that everything has been mapped. It's telling us that it's going to be importing contacts. This is the field it's going to use for each one of the row items in the columns. So for first name, it's going to use these. For last name, it's going to use these. Email here, phone number here, and now we added a business name, which it's going to use all of these. It's going to skip any empty values. For example, if I missed an email or a last name or a company name, it's just going to skip and continue to import. We're going to select next. Now it's asking us if we want to create a smart list for the new contacts created by the import. We could create a smart list and give it a name right here if we wanted to. We're not going to do that right now. Add imported contacts to a workflow. We could do that if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that. We haven't created any workflows yet. Add tags to imported contacts. Yes, you always want to do this. We're going to select the tags, and it's neither one of these two tags. So we're going to add two more new tags. So my first new tag is going to be import contact. This is how the contact came into the system. I'm going to select that to add it. Now I'm going to add another one. And this is who these contacts are. And I'm going to call these current clients. I'm going to have to add that one because it doesn't exist. So now in this import, every one of the contacts is going to have the tag import contact and current clients. We're checking to see if everything's mapped and everything looks good. And down here we've got to select, I confirm all the contacts in this import have consented to hear from us. I've previously contacted them within the past year and this list is not from a third party. Now I can start the import. The import is started, it's running in the background, and now I can go to my bulk actions and see what's going on. And it's telling me that my import is complete. So let's go back to our smart lists, and now we have 30 contacts in our system. If we look at this first contact, it's an imported contact and it's also a current client. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a smart list for my current clients. So I'm in the all list. I want to add a smart list. I'm going to call this list current clients. I'm going to go to advanced filters. I'm going to look for tag. I'm going to select tag. I'm going to find current client. That's the only sort filter I want on this list. I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to create the list. So now I have two smart lists. I have personal contacts and I have current clients. So we're ready to start warming up our email server. We know we're going to be sending quite a few emails and we really don't want to copy and paste every time. So we're going to utilize the system and create a template and a snippet. So we're going to go over here to marketing. We're going to go to emails and we're going to create a template. We're going to create our first template so we can either select create template or new. Now we don't want to use the design editor. We don't want to use the code editor. We want a plain text editor for these warm-up. So we're going to select this. So the first thing we're going to do is give this a name. We're going to select up here. We're going to double click and give it a name. I'm going to call it warm-up email start. I'm going to select all this and delete it. And then I'm going to start composing the email. Now we're going to start with a greeting. And in this greeting, I'm going to introduce you to custom values. Now what a custom value is, it's a value that we put into the custom fields whenever we did the import earlier. Custom field value becomes a custom value. So the custom value that I want to use here is contact first name. So now every time this goes out, it will grab the contact's first name and put it in this space. We want to put a comma here and then a couple of lines. And here's the text I'm going to enter. This is my new email address. If you could be so kind as to move this email to your primary folder. Also, could you please reply with a got it? It would really help me out. Thank you. Now after this thank you, we need to put the signature of the user. So we're going to go back up here to the custom values and we're going to get the user signature. Now the system is going to automatically place the user email signature in this email. I'm going to save this template. Always click save a few times. And then I'm going to go back. Now we're going to create a snippet. And you're going to see how this all comes into play in just a minute. So I'm going to go to the top and select snippet. And a snippet is just like a template. You can use snippets in some places and templates in others. When you select new snippet, you can either add a text snippet or an email snippet. I've already created an email snippet. So we're going to open it up. I'm going to grab this part of the body and open it up. Now we're going to give it a name. We're going to give it a subject. And this is going to be our reply. After our contact has sent a reply, we're going to send one more email back to them asking them to open a link. So what I say here is, great, thanks for the reply. Could you do me one more favor and click my social media link below so I can get a boost on my account? And then I put my social media link in there. You can use any link you want here. We're just trying to get them to click on a link. Double thanks, and then I put the email signature in there again. This time I had to hit this little tag icon. Then I went to user signature. I'm going to save that. And now we have a template and a snippet. I'm going to go back to my contacts. Now I'm going to send my first warm-up email. So I'm going to go to my personal contacts. I'm going to select my first 5 contacts, and I'm going to select send an email. It's going to ask me to confirm. Now I'm going to give it an action name. I'm going to call it warm-up email 1. I'm not going to put a from name or a from email. I'm going to let it use the email server. I've got to put a subject here. I'm going to put I have something new to share. The pre-header adds a little additional information in the email whenever the recipient sees it. I'm going to add, can you do me a favor? Now when we scroll down here, we can either do a quick compose or we can use the smart builder or we can select an existing template. This is what we're going to select. And when we do, we see our snippet and we see our template. We're going to select warm-up email start. It's going to show us a small preview of this. We know what it looks like, but if we want to, we can edit it. We're not going to do that. Now I'm definitely going to send in batch mode. And for this example, I'm going to send in batches of 2 contacts every hour. I want it to start today, and I have to hit confirm. And you typically don't want to send on Saturday and Sundays. So we're going to take that off. Now you have some additional settings here. I'm going to turn that on because I know I'm going to give them a link to click in the second email. We don't need UTM tracking, and we're not going to add any tags based on what they do in the email. If I wanted to, I could send a test email to my email address here just to make sure everything looks right. I'd just enter the email address and hit send test. I'm not going to do that on this because I know it already works. I have to select the confirm to confirm that I do know these contacts and they consent, and then I select send email. So it processed the campaign. I can go check the progress. It's queued up because I set it up to send 1 email to 2 contacts every hour. So until all 5 of those contacts have been sent an email, this won't be complete. Now I can go over here under the actions and view details just to let me know how I've set this up. I can also pause this, cancel it, or edit it. So now let's go back and select Smart List to get back to the contacts. Okay, I'm going to go over here to my personal contacts list. And I know I sent a warm-up email to Lee Test Email. So what I want to do is go over and check that email. And you can see the email is here in my primary email box. And we'll select it. And you can see all the information from the warm-up template is there and the signature. So I'm going to reply to this. I'm just going to say, sure, got it. I'm going to send that. Now I'm going to go back to the high-level system. And I'm going to go over here to Conversations. When I click Conversations, this is going to show me all the conversations that come into my system. Anytime you have a conversation that comes in by any means, this is where it will land. And this is the last email that came in. I'm going to click on this, and it shows my original email, but it also shows the reply here. So I'm going to click on this, and you'll see the sure got it right here. I want to reply to this, so I can either hit this button here and reply, or I can go down here and reply. Either way, it pops the same box. Now what I want to do is I want to add my snippet in here now. So I'll go down here. The reason we had to create a snippet is there's no place for a template to be inserted here. So on this reply, I'm going to reply with a snippet. And the only one we've created pops up here. We could search for these if we had more, but I'm going to select this. And now it pops my snippet in there. So even though it shows the custom value here, it will insert the information for the signature when I hit the send button. So I'm going to go ahead and send this as my reply. And now I'm going to go back to my other email and check the reply. And you can see now it says, thanks for the reply. I open this up and you can see all the information from the snippet is there and the signature. And now I'm going to click on the link. The link opened and now I'm going back to HighLevel. I want to clear up some confusion here that some people ask about. If I'm going to reply or send an email to this contact, you're going to see that the from user and the from name are the values that are associated with the user in the user profile. This is not the case. HighLevel is going to override these two and use the email server header. As you can see on the sent email, it came from our email server, which is noreply@moonleafspa.com. Reply to is the same. The mailed by and the signed by are both from the email server. So when you see these two values, don't pay any attention to them. The system is going to use the email server header values. Now we're going to find out what happened with the emails that we sent. We're going to get some analytics. There's a couple of ways we can do this. We can go to settings. We can go to email services, and we can go to email analytics. Now this will give you the analytics for a particular date range, and you have some filters here. You can filter by campaigns, workflows, or bulk requests. Now even though we didn't send a campaign, we really sent a bulk request. This is one of the places where HighLevel falls short. I'm going to select campaign here, and then the source name is going to be our warm-up email 1. I'm going to apply that, and you're going to see our 5, 5, and 5. And I'm still not going to see the number of clicked. And the reason for that is it takes HighLevel about a day to populate this with the correct data. There's another place we can go. If we go back here and we go to marketing, select emails, go to campaigns, select bulk action campaigns, and we'll see our warm-up email 1. Click that, and now we're going to be able to see delivered, opened, clicked, conversion, soft bounce, hard bounce, unsubscribed, skipped, and spam. Now I can also show these stats in numbers. And we know we've got our 5 and 5. We still have our 0 clicked. But if we scroll down a little bit, we get a few more details. And those details are itemized by the actual contact. And let's say, for example, you had 2 people that unsubscribed. Well, you could go down to the bottom here, and you can actually see who unsubscribed by contact. Ideally, I'd want to look at this click performance. But again, I can't get that data until tomorrow. If I hit the back button here, I'll get back to the main email marketing tab. Okay, let's do a little recap here. It seems like we've covered a lot, but we really haven't. It's just some initial setup and some daily routines. So step 1, we're going to add the personal contacts with tags. We're going to add client contacts with tags. We're going to create smart lists from those tags. We're going to create a warm-up email template. We're going to create a warm-up email snippet. So enter step 2, week 1, we're going to send the warm-up email template to personal contacts. Then when they reply, we're going to send the reply snippet back to those personal contacts. And this week we're doing 10, 15 a day. Week 2, we're sending warm-up emails to personal contacts and some clients. We're sending the reply snippet back. We're bumping this up to 20, 40 contacts. And then basically you've got a daily routine. Send the temp email, reply with the snippet, check your stats, and call anyone that hasn't opened the email. If they haven't opened the email and it's a personal contact, just call them up and say, hey, I sent you an email. Can you do me a favor and check your spam and open it up for me? It just needs to be a daily routine that you get into for about 4 weeks. So the last thing I want to impress upon you is this. You're going to spend a lot of time protecting this domain and protecting your email sending domain. Do not send email campaigns from this email server. If you're going to start to launch email campaigns, you need to set up a second server with a different domain name. Email campaign servers are always getting blacklisted. They're always getting thrown into spam. And you spent too much time trying to build this email server up to a trusted domain. Go out and buy another .com. There's a link below if you want to buy one from Namecheap. And in this case, Monica would buy something like moonleafspaservices.com. And then she'd set up a noreply.moonleafspaservices.com. And then what you can do, HighLevel has this set up specifically for this process. If you go to domain configuration and you scroll down, you can see campaign domains. HighLevel allows you to use a separate email server for each one of their services. You can pop a different email server in your campaign domain. You can pop a different email server in your bulk email. You can even do it for one-on-one conversations, payments, calendar domain. You can set up a different email server for each one of these features. Right now there's only one email server set up. So everything that's done in any of these features is going through this one email server. That means if you send a campaign out to 4, 5, 6,000 people, it's going to use this email server right now. And you run the risk of everything going to spam and possibly getting blacklisted. Now, don't get me wrong. This one email server is perfect for all your business operations. All I'm saying is that if you decide to start running email campaigns, whether they're cold email campaigns or campaigns out to even your current clients, set yourself up a separate dedicated domain for email campaigns. Now, you're going to have to warm that server up also, but it's worth it to protect your primary domain.